just love that stuff.
It's just so catchy. Oh, hey guys, my name is Russ. Welcome to Trauma Talks Live. My name is Russ. I
My
had
name's
it
Tanya.
backwards. I had it all like rehearsed, and then, man, guys, this is Tanya Bonner. Tanya is Tan, right?
Yeah,
You go by
Tan for
Tan.
short. My friends call me Tan.
Tan is one of the co-authors in the Empowered Grief Journey, which is a book anthology I was just recently involved in. And Tan, it's what time is it there in Australia?
12:40 in Australia.
We're exactly 12 hours apart.
Yeah.
We could not
Well,
be
I hope
more
you've had a
opposite.
great day.
That's why you're so much more energetic. You're just getting down from your coffee high. Now getting ready for bed.
Yeah, pretty much. It was like yesterday morning on the launch. I was only just waking up and everyone else was in prime
That's
form.
right, because our launch was at noon, so it was 6 a.m. or midnight for you.
No, it was 7 o'clock. So just
Oh
falling
my
out
god!
of bed.
Oh, that's
yesterday
right.
morning.
It was Pacific time. What was it? Noon in Pacific time, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, man, Tanya. So I have not had a chance to read your chapter yet because I've been just trying to get through it all. You're chapter 15, mine is 12.
Yeah,
I'm on chapter 4. It's a lot to go through.
it is a lot.
So what's been your experience through this whole thing?
Oh my gosh, Russ, it's been a real journey. And if you had told me what the journey would have been like before we wrote this chapter, I don't think I would have believed you. But wow, what an incredible journey of not only self-development, but just really facing the trauma head on. And look, that part wasn't easy. I'm not going to lie. Reliving the experience that day of losing my late partner, it was horrendous. And I went for many weeks while writing the chapter without sleep as well. However, I knew that there was a greater purpose for this, and that journey was at different times. The grief journey was so isolating and so like I felt alone, and I knew that if I could help bridge that gap for someone else and not allow them to feel as alone and isolated as what I did at that particular time of the loss, then whatever I was feeling, whatever I was going through was going to be so worthwhile for the greater good. And yeah, it's
Kind of hard
been
to get to that point, though, right? That point of loss to that point of, okay, I see where this brought me. I see where my growth has brought me. It's hard to reconcile part one with part two.
absolutely, it's really hard, and some days you don't. Some days you still go back to not reconciling that, and that's also okay.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that, because I feel like that's the trials and tribulations that grief reveals. So at different times, no, I haven't accepted what's going on, and I've gone into that victim mentalization of why me? Why has this happened to me? However, I'm okay with going into those places because it does deep at a different layer, like a deeper layer of conceptualization for me in understanding what has happened and why it has happened. And we never really get the answers for the why, but we can
And there
certainly.
doesn't necessarily need to be a why,
That's
right?
right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The why could just be, but what we do with it in the end is what matters. And what you've done with it
absolutely.
is pretty beautiful.
It's been yeah, it's been amazing. And you know what? I even woke up this morning. I'm not going to name names, but I even woke up this morning and I messaged Chris actually, and I said to him, "You'd never believe it, but this particular person that has been involved in this journey of the grief journey that I've had and losing my late partner, out of the blue, I got a message again from this particular person. Now, I'm not going to name who it was, but I couldn't believe the irony of that, because when I was writing the chapter, they also messaged and checked in at that particular time. They have
Oh,
got
wow.
no idea what I'm doing here and what's going on in my life, but the irony has blown me away today.
There has been a plethora of these types of ironies. The whole 23 thing, right? With the
Yeah.
23rd, ended up being released. There was 23 chapters. Caden, Chris's son, was stillborn on the 23rd. I mean, the 23rd just kept showing up. And then stuff like your story, somebody else, who was it? Somebody else said during the launch party, there was the number 47 kept popping up.
Yeah, me. Yeah.
You.
Yeah.
Oh, can you share that?
Yeah, so Troy was 47 when he passed away.
And you're
And
page 147.
I'm page 147.
It's crazy how this stuff pops up, man. It's kind of hard to believe that there's not something orchestrating things, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's probably really restored a lot of my belief in the universe and how things happen ever since this is it's since I lost Troy, really, because some of the things that I've actually verbalized out to the universe has turned around and happened, and there's no explanation for this stuff. Like, it's just
Yeah.
bizarre.
Yeah. See, my experience was a little different through the whole thing because when Chris approached me, I was kind of like, dude, I'm not the right guy for this project. Right. Because I have no real experience with grief other than, my grandparents passing away, things like that. But when I really started to sit down and write about it, because the original approach was to approach grief from coming out of a toxic relationship and the grief you might feel out of coming from I'm getting bombarded on Facebook here.
Do not disturb.
Oh, my friend just said Facebook says you're alive. Anyway, I kind of approached it from this perspective of coming out of a toxic relationship and out of a trauma bond, and that kind of loss, the feeling of loss coming out of that, and it just evolved into this story about my father, and I had no clue it was going there. I didn't even thought about my father in years,
How
So
was that for you, going to that place of grief with your father, who was estranged from your life, from what I can understand?
well, he was right. So
Yeah.
I left Ohio when I was 17, 18 years old. I joined the military and moved on. So I moved to Colorado, and I don't think I went back until I was probably in my 20s. And then I kind of had a dissolution of that relationship when I was 20. So 25 years or 22 years before he died. He died in 2020. So when he died, our entire family on this side of the family, well, really our entire family was kind of like, okay, right? When he died, it was more like I can dress the way I want to dress. I can wear my hair a little longer, because I dressed like something out of a boot camp video, or he was very militaristic. He was very strict. He was very all of that. So when he died, we felt a huge relief. The whole family felt a huge relief, kind of like the whole world was kind of a little bit better of a place since he was gone. But a couple years later, I was happened to be watching this comedian. Do you know? There's an American, well, he's a Mexican comedian he goes by Fluffy.
No.
His nickname is Fluffy, and I'm trying to remember his name. If somebody is watching this and can chat me his name, I would really appreciate it. Anyway, he goes by Fluffy. It's a relatively heavy set guy. He's lost a lot of weight actually recently for health. But anyway, he was telling a story during one of his Netflix specials. So I'm watching one of his Netflix specials on like a Sunday afternoon. I'm sitting there. It's 10 o'clock in the morning, and I'm watching this guy talk about his family and so on and so forth. And he starts talking about his dad, right? He's like, my dad split before I was born. My dad was a mariachi. My mom was from LA. She got knocked up by a mariachi, and he headed back to Mexico. And then a couple years ago, when I started getting famous, I got a phone call from this mariachi, like, "Hey, I'm your dad." And he's like, "Yeah, whatever, bro." And he's like, "No, really, I'm your dad. Can we sit down and talk?" He's like, "Dude, where have you been for the last 30 years?" "No, I don't want to talk to you." And he hung up, and then he kept getting calls from this guy. He's like, "Listen, man, I don't want anything from you. I just want to sit down and talk to you." So eventually they sat down. He had a show in LA, and his father met him there in LA. He got him tickets for the show. And afterwards they just sat down for drinks, not even dinner. And his dad spilled his guts. He was like, "This is what happened. This is why I left. This is this. This is that." And I wish I could remember the guy's name because I hate saying Fluffy right now because it just messes up the whole mood of the story. But Fluffy says, "I don't give a shit. Where have you been for the last 30 years? You know what you did to me? You know what you did to my mom? You know what you did to our entire family? You steered the entire future of my life by
Yeah.
leaving." And his dad just sat there and listened to him. And at the end of all of it, his dad said, "I'm sorry." And I never
Mm,
got that from my dad. So that's
mm.
where my story kind of went, was I never got that closure. I never got to have that conversation. Whew.
Yeah. Yeah, it gets all the feels, doesn't it? Because
It does. It does. Man,
yeah.
I tell you what, from what I've read so far, it is a powerful book. There's a
Mm.
lot of powerful, yours included, I'm sure. I haven't read it yet. I can't wait. But there's some powerful stories. And I feel like there's so many different perspectives of grief.
Absolutely. From what I've read, there's so many different takes on the
Yeah.
experiences of grief and loss. And I think
Types
that,
of loss, types of grief.
yeah,
Yeah. I mean, just your, where you're coming in your chapter and your approach to grief and mine are just completely different. You
yeah,
can't even say
absolutely. And I
opposite. They're
think
just different.
so many people can really, I think, can really resonate with your story as well, because there are so many people that have experienced, families that have separated. And, I don't think it really matters what age you are when that occurs and it's your parents. It still taps into a spot within your inner child that
Sure.
is a really hard
Like a
place.
breakdown of safety.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
security. Yeah, so I think so many people could really resonate with that connection of your story. And not, I think sometimes in life you don't have the ability to say what you really want to say, and it's a moment that's lost. And I think the power within that, which is really hard to come to that level, is that at some point in time you've really got to find that peace within yourself,
Yeah.
and that peace within yourself about, well, if I did have the opportunity, this is what I would have said in that moment, and being okay with it, which sounds really easy to do, but it is so hard to actually achieve that level of peace
It's
within you.
incredibly hard to think, to try to think through the ego to the point where that would be possible.
Yeah.
Right? It's hard to think, like, if my dad knocked on my door today, I'd answer the door and say, "Screw you," and shut the door.
Mm,
But would I really? If I open the door right now and the door and my father was standing on the front, I'd probably break down crying.
yeah.
I probably wouldn't even recognize him to begin with, but I would
Mm,
probably break down crying. So that whole macho man kind of like, this is how I would react. We have no idea how we would react until it happens.
yeah. And often you have those moments and you still don't get to say what you really want to say anyway.
Absolutely
um
not. But it's a lot easier when you're sitting there thinking through the whole thing and being able to just put your thoughts to paper. And that's
yeah.
what I've realized. Tanya, have you ever done any other writing prior to this?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, I've also had another experience in terms of an anthology that focused on change and different changes we experience in life as well. So it actually complements this book really well.
Good, good. Yeah. So this is my first experience writing. And so so can you tell me a little bit more about the other book?
Yeah, so I went through a significant amount of change in my life, and this experience that I wrote about previously was in terms of my father, who he suffered a traumatic brain injury. And as a result of that injury, all his neural pathways were severed. So
Mm,
it was quite severe. And we really had to focus in on how we could best support him and what we were going to do to be able to give him the quality of life and the dignity that he actually needed. And obviously, with that, there was a lot of grieving that occurred because he wasn't the man that he once was prior to the
sure,
injury.
Sure.
My role changed. My role ultimately ended up being his carer at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a real role reversal in terms of that parent and daughter paradigm. And I spoke a lot to that and the different things that we tried to be able to support him in really giving him that quality of life and the change that occurs within that. And it's been certainly something that's inspired me in terms of my exercising journey as well, and rewiring my own mindset from the trauma that I have experienced, because I've had to help my father do it. I can really resonate with, yes, he had a traumatic brain injury. However, the impact that trauma has on the brain is very similar.
Yeah. So
Mm.
you just said something that reminded me of something else about you that's fascinating. And you already know where I'm going. The exercise journey. Do you mind sharing that? That's such a
Yeah,
cool thing. I
so
just found out about this. I didn't really know about it until it was mentioned on the call yesterday.
yeah, I'm hyping it up at the moment because it has been such a journey.
Yeah, you
Um,
should.
Look, I nearly lost my life back in 2021. I was undiagnosed with a life-threatening condition at that time, and I really had to speak up and really fight for my own life because no one was listening to me. Oh, you still there?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, sweet.
I was just
So,
zooming in.
so yeah, no one was listening to me at that particular time, and I nearly lost my life. And I went through 5 operations in a really short period of time to basically save my life. And then they found a tumor. I had a tumor as well in between my heart and my spine. So for 2021, dealing with 4 kids and trying to manage my health, I was absolutely bedridden or on a chair. I couldn't move. I couldn't do anything. And I knew I had to switch gears and I had to turn my life around. And November the 1st, 2021, I decided that I was going to start exercising for 61 days because I knew that to rewire my own brain in terms of implementation of the habits, it was going to take on average 66 days to do that, right? So 61 days was my first goal, and started to feel amazing and kept on pushing out the boundaries
Yeah.
until we got to today. But throughout that time,
So
that nearly
how many
1,500
days
days.
is today?
So today is 1,485.
1,485 and you started at 61. That is a perfect example of 1% every day.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Give me a high five. Nice job. Anya, it's been a pleasure having you on. Is there anything else you want to let anybody else know about the about your chapter or about your journey, or how to get a hold of you if they want to? You know what we can do? Even better, maybe.
We can put it in the chat afterwards. But
We
look,
could,
I,
yeah.
I
Go ahead.
really want to encourage everyone to have a look at this book, because it's not just focusing on the dark of the grief. It actually beautifully highlights the light that is revealed in a journey facing your grief. And I think that that is such a beautiful and special thing to really discuss it. Yes, some of these times have been really shitty and really horrific for so many of us. But hey, look at the other side of life. Look at the flip, so to speak, of how some really negative experiences have turned into some beautiful and positive moments in life,
Well,
and
every
a
one
real
of the
appreciation.
stories, every one of the
So,
stories end in positivity. That's the coolest part about it, right? Is the framework all ends is what did you learn from it? How did you heal from it? And how would you help others heal from it? And every one of us have pretty much come through it and ended up becoming healers ourselves.
yeah. Yeah, well, I actually nearly walked away from healing. I've been in this space for over 20 years. And after Troy's death, I just went, I can't do this anymore. And I walked out of my job and I went, nah, I need to deal with my own trauma here. But it actually helped further inspire and my purpose in life, because go to the people that have lived it, who have gone through it and come out the other side.
Yeah.
They get it.
Well, Tam, whether you like it or not, now you've written in this book and you are a healer. So as long as this book is out there and people are healing, you're a healer, whether you like it or not.
I like it. I love being able to help someone else. I think
All
it's
right.
just such a beautiful thing.
Absolutely. Thanks for
Yeah.
coming on with me, Tan. Thanks, guys. Hey,
Yeah,
guys,
thanks,
if you
mate.
check it out on Amazon, you just search for the Empowered Grief Journey. You can find Tan's chapter. Tan, you're chapter 15.
Chapter 15, page
Chapter 15,
147.
I'm chapter 12. We would love it up until Thanksgiving Day. So from now until through Wednesday, you can go get it for free. So you can download it for free. You can read Tan's chapter and my chapter, write a review. We'd love to hear what you want. We'd love to hear what you think. Yeah, right?
Absolutely. I love feedback.
I would really love to hear how it touched you because it definitely has touched us. So thanks, Tan, for being a part of this.
Thank you so much for your time.
Absolutely. Take care, guys.